So, Robyn,
Yeah.
the world found out you got married.
Yeah.
And the world found out that you and Karen apparently had beef.
Yeah.
So that played out on The Real Housewives of Potomac. We're not going to touch on that. But if y'all want to get y'all entire life and see a really good episode, what number was that? Episode
15.
That was episode 15. Get your entire life, okay? And Gizelle had a good old time. Gizelle was just on the side drinking her tequila. Okay, so after that, everybody found out you got married, and then all of a sudden, people in these streets decided they had things to say, y'all. And it didn't hit the blogs. What these people saying, Robyn? Okay, I'll tell it. So, there's some sort of strumpet out here that is staking claims on Juandixon. And I just want to say, y'all stop it, strumpet. That's all I'm going to say. Do you have anything to say?
Okay. So I debated on whether, addressing this because, you know, I don't really give attention to stuff like this.
Right,
and
true.
People who want attention. But I figured there were a lot of lies and things being misconstrued. So what I will say, so for y'all, I'm sure all of y'all that are listening don't really know exactly what we're talking about because you don't, live on Instagram or whatever, TikTok, Twitter, whatever it might be. Young lady came forward talking about she and Juan dated during COVID, and she shows this hotel receipt with his name on it.
Right.
Okay, that's that's legit. I don't know. I mean, that's
the premise of the allegations.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, what I want to, so what I want to say, first of all, I was aware of the situation before we filmed season 7.
Right.
And because this young lady was so pressed to tell me and to tell you, Gizelle,
yes,
I assume she told the whole cast.
Right. Because she DM'd me.
Right. So all of season 7, I'm just waiting for somebody to bring it up.
Because, Karen is good for thinking she got some tea.
Right. Or anybody. I mean, that's our life. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just ready for it. I'm waiting for it. And so when we're in Mexico and Ashley tells me that Karen, was talking about us, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is it.
Right.
And she talks about some blonde holding hand, him holding hands with a blonde in Georgetown that looks like Karen. I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous.
Okay. Right. Whew. So that was, it was kind of comical to me. So then we go down that road. But however, I was already aware of the situation and I expected to talk about it on season 7.
Right.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. And if you are on the podcast platforms, please do subscribe. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button while you're at it. It's why not? And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. We just want to go ahead and brighten up the place. And let's get into this podversation/reality chat. Okay, so I began this conversation just beginning with the portion of the Reasonably Shady podcast with Gizelle and Robyn. And they're discussing the things that have been revealed that a lot of people have been talking about over the past several days. I know a lot of people have been talking about it. I wanted to give my 2 cents because I have been waiting to share my thoughts on these things. And, it's crazy because listening to her speak, and I'm going to get back into the remainder in a moment, she just revealed that she knew, that she's known that Juan is with other women, and that she's okay with it. Because if you listen to her speaking, she's very nonchalant. I wouldn't even say she's acting like she doesn't care. I really believe she does care, but I really believe that she just doesn't feel like she has any other options or any other choice. Because if you go back to the first season, when Robyn and Juan came on the show, she said that they were divorced. She said that they live together and they have the 2 children. They still have sex with each other, but she didn't really call it a relationship. She's just like, yeah, I don't remember the exact word she used, but she was pretty much saying it's definitely unconventional, but she wasn't calling it a relationship at all. She wasn't even calling it an open relationship. And if you look at Juan from the first season up until now, to me, it looks like Juan may sleep there sometimes, but he doesn't sleep there all the time. I believe that he does his thing when he wants to. And for the sake of the show, and they have been on for several seasons, what now, season 7? He proposed to her, I want to say a couple of seasons ago. I just don't believe that he's really in it. We've heard him on a hot mic talk about, he really expressed himself more so on that hot mic than he has throughout the show about how he doesn't even really want to be with her. And that's the part that I believe is why Robyn really cannot stand Wendy. Ever since Wendy went off on Robyn, it may have been unwarranted. It may have been because Wendy was going off on Gizelle and Robyn was just asking like, well, what's the problem? Like, what's the issue? And Wendy just went off on her and said those infamous words, "You don't even have a real relationship to talk about." That stings to this day, Robyn. And that's why Robyn just does not want to have anything to do with Wendy at all. And that's why she's been trying to ice her out this entire season. And they have unwarrantedly, Gizelle and Robyn standing up for Mia versus Wendy when Mia was 100% wrong, throwing a drink on Wendy. And every chance that they get, they try to gas Mia up and make Mia feel like Wendy is jealous of her. Like, Wendy's jealous of Mia. Like, are you freaking kidding me? But it's the hate that they have for Wendy because Wendy told the truth about them. And they want what Wendy has, which is a loving marriage, a beautiful relationship. You know, they have their children. She has a very healthy, extensive resume and career. And they don't have that. Like, what does Robyn and Gizelle do? Okay, now they have the podcast. Okay. And they wouldn't have that if it were not for the Real Housewives of Potomac. So you are cast members on this show. You don't really have that much outside of that. I think Robyn had the hats. I'm not sure if she's even still doing that. But when it comes to what Robyn is revealing on this podcast, she's basically saying that she was okay with Juan being with other women and she knew about it. Let's continue listening to what she had to say, and then we're going to get back into it.
Now, the situation when it was presented to me was handled, was discussed. It was handled. It was something we had to work through, you know. It was not something that it was just like, oh, okay, whatever.
Oh, yeah. No.
However, there are a lot of things that need to be cleared up with what's being said with what allegedly happened, which did not. So,
Okay.
I'm kind of, and I want to almost maybe share the details for Patreon.
Oh, yeah. We'll give the details on the Patreon.
Yes.
So go ahead on and subscribe.
So I will give more details on Patreon, but what I will say is, yes, Juan was an idiot and communicated with this woman on Instagram, you know, because whatever. He's bored. He needs attention. He's, it's the pandemic, blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
However, they did not date. He did not fly her anywhere.
Right.
And there is a reason why his name is on a hotel receipt, which I will share on Patreon.
Yes. Boom.
And the reason is not because he asked her to come and was volunteered to pay for this hotel room.
Right. The end.
Okay.
Yes. And then I will say several things on Patreon, like, let me catch her outside. Let me catch her outside.
But,
Allegedly.
but since she pretty much was trying to bribe Juan and told her that she was going to become famous off of us, then, I don't know, girl, go maybe, I don't know, hopefully you can start a OnlyFans and get some money off of it or something.
Yes. Go show your booty on OnlyFans.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say, just with respect to Juan and I, we dealt with the situation. It was definitely something that we had to work through relationship wise. Maybe that's why the wedding didn't happen when y'all wanted it to.
Oh, really?
I mean,
Let's discuss. We'll discuss on Patreon.
I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, it just you know what I'm saying. But so anyway, it was something that we dealt with, and we're moving forward.
Yes, and I'm happy that y'all are moving forward, and not to like go back to what I was talking about earlier, but I just want to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
Cher is dating somebody.
All right, so I'm pausing it right there because honestly, she said something in this podcast, and what she said was that this woman called him. She called Juan, not she just sent him a DM or an email. She called him. How did she get Juan's number? Obviously, this was someone that was in communication with Juan. As much as she wants to just act as if this is something, he just made a stupid mistake and he was an idiot and he was communicating with a woman, but they did not have a relationship. Okay, yeah, they didn't have a relationship, just like Robyn and Juan doesn't have a real relationship, like Wendy had said. They definitely did some stuff, period. And I'm not here to elaborate on what they did physically, but they did not just communicate. She tried to put off as if Juan was treating this woman like a charity case because he felt sorry for her, and she was reaching out to him and saying that she flew out and she didn't have the money she needed to fly back somewhere, or whatever she was saying. But she said this woman called Juan. And listen, I don't know. I guess some people are going to pay for the Patreon just to hear that. Besides the people who are already subscribed to their Patreon, I ain't paying $5 to listen to what she should have revealed on either the podcast or, forget the podcast, on this show that they're paid hundreds of thousands of dollars overall to be on. That's where your reality should have been exposed, not on Patreon, getting people to pay $5 to get the dirt and so that you can dish the tea, and that they can, what they're going to do is record it and share it on social media anyway. So it's like, why? It just does not make any sense. But listen, Robyn, she revealed that she definitely is okay with Juan being with other women, because she is saying, well, maybe that's why the wedding didn't happen when y'all wanted it to. Who's really sitting here wanting this wedding more than she did? I believe that she is knowing about what's going on, and not just Juan being with these other people, because that's just one. I just believe that there's more than her. But also, we heard the story that came out some weeks ago about this young man who's suing a university that he used to go to, where Juan was either an assistant coach or he was in some capacity in a leadership role, and he was named in this person's lawsuit because he failed to act when this young man came to him to tell him some things that was going on. So the thing about it is, Robyn is okay with it. Juan and Robyn, just like Wendy said, don't have a real relationship to even speak about. Like Wendy, that's exactly what she said. She meant it, and she didn't say anything that was not true. She did not lie. Yeah, it probably hurt Robyn's feelings, because I believe prior to that, Robyn felt like she and Wendy were friendly, not maybe friends, but friendly. But when Wendy was coming for her what she would call her real friend, Gizelle, then that's when she interjected when it really had nothing to do with her, and that's why Wendy called her out and came for her well, I don't want to say marriage, came for her relationship that isn't even really there, or non-existent, or not even to speak about, So when Robyn said on the podcast that this woman called Juan, and she said she has a reason for why his name was on a receipt, but she's going to reveal it in Patreon, you revealed that you know that this is true. And to try to act as if it's not, when she on the show was calling out Karen, when Karen exposed some of it, and she wanted to say that Karen was crazy and it was a lie, and her retaliation is to pull out a picture of the person that Karen has been allegedly seeing outside of her marriage. Look, I don't know what's going on with Karen and her husband and any agreements or anything that they may have. I spoke about this previously, and I did say that I thought it was weird that Karen and Ray had that scene at the nail salon earlier in the season, and she was talking to Ray and saying, well, you said I could have eye candy, right? And I didn't think that made sense, because have eye candy versus eye candy is something you look at. So when you say have eye candy, it sounds like it's something that you're doing more than looking at, but it's none of our business. I mean, if she doesn't want to reveal it, she doesn't have to. But the rumors have been out there about Karen and her doing what she does. But listen, Ray is not complaining, and Karen, she is who she is. She's married to a much older man, and maybe they have an agreement like that. I don't know. But what I am saying is that Robyn definitely knew about what was going on with Juan, and she tried to save face on the show when she should have been revealing those things on the show. But she's okay with Juan being with other women. I'm not saying that she likes it, but I'm saying she accepts it. And she just does not want it to be out there, because look, that man does not respect her. We heard when she called Juan when they were in Mexico and how he was going off on the phone with her. And yeah, people could say, oh, well, he was going off about Karen because he said he's going to call and he's going to cuss them out. But look who he was taking it out on Robyn. He didn't say, baby, you know it's not true. You know these women are just jealous or whatever, like whatever he might have said to just try to calm her down. No, he was going off on her, cursing and, you know, I don't effing go anywhere, and quit calling me with this bleep, bleep, bleep. I mean, he was so rude and nasty to Robyn, and she's just standing there taking it. It's sad to see, but look, if she accepts it, you know, like the old saying goes, if you like it, I love it. It's like, it has nothing to do with me, but you all are out here on a reality show. You're not really showing your real reality. And it's like, why not? Because it already looked like a big mess from the moment you came on the show in the first place. So just put it all out there. just put it all out there. But I don't know. I don't know if for the protection of their children, they feel like it's okay to cover up and lie and not be who they really are in this quote unquote relationship. But it's just making them look bad. And a lot of people are calling for Robyn to be fired from the show, and even Gizelle. But you know what? I was just laughing as I was listening to this podcast episode, and just that portion, because I couldn't listen to the entire thing. Just hearing Gizelle and calling this woman a strumpet and don't let me catch you outside. What are you going to do? Because you couldn't even respond in words when Wendy was letting you have it last season, okay? So whatever, girl, please. I'm just like, I'm not here for either of them. I really do not like Gizelle. Robyn, I tolerated her before, but after this, I can't say that I care for her either. But guys, let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Until the next time, this is Beth, and I'm just being beautifully honest.